Okay, hi, welcome back. Sorry I haven't put out a video in a while, but I just got back from an awesome trip in Mexico that I can't wait to tell you. I'm like so far behind on video stuff. Video-wise, I'm still in the Philippines, but we've done bungee jumping, the highest commercial bungee jump in North America. We went whale shark swimming. We went swimming in a human cemetery. So we got some really exciting stuff, but I'm just so bogged down with video stuff. And then I also have a regular job on top of it. So, okay, sorry, no more excuses. I have a great comment that I've just been dying to respond to. LegendOfSteve left me this. Your lifestyle seems fun, but what are your thoughts on a family? The only thing I worry about is not having a set income and having to provide for kids. By the way, I loved the Real Talk video. For people that don't want to stare at your face, how about a dancing squirrel in the corner? I think it's great that you're thinking about this, LegendOfSteve. It's very forward thinking. Good on you. I've never been one to just like throw all caution to the wind and just blow all my money and travel until I run out of money. I've never understood how people can even do that. Even when I was broke and traveling on like nothing, I always put in my budget a couple $100s a month that I needed to put away towards retirement, always. So I think it's great that you're thinking that way. And I think, you know, full disclosure, I don't have a family. No, I don't have a family to support. I have a family. That's good, that's good. But I've said for a long time, if I didn't want to someday have a family, my life would look totally different. I'd probably be living on a beach somewhere, bartending in something really low key, because you know the reality is you don't need that much money to stay afloat. You really don't. But when you start putting kids in the picture, you do need to you know, you owe it to them to provide stability. They need that, and you know, with your family and stuff. So, but the biggest thing I would say is that that if there's this guilt or anxiety or self-loathing that says, oh, I don't deserve to go and travel. I don't deserve to go and cross off my bucket list things. And so what we do is, like, let's say that you have something that you want to do that costs $1,500 to do it. Let's say you want to travel to see the Northern Lights in Iceland. Okay, you can get a flight out there for like $500, $700, something like that. You could probably do a whole trip to Iceland for $1,500 to go see the Northern Lights, realistically. But let's say, you know, you're saving for a family, or you have a family or whatever, and you said, well, I shouldn't do that. You know, I really should put my money towards my family. Okay, great, noble. But the thing is that if you don't address the issue of budgeting and actually plan for how you're going to spend your money, you're going to end up spending that $1,500 somewhere else, probably. Okay, so, you know, maybe you say, well, I don't deserve to have this $1,500 trip. But instead you go, well, but you know, I'll spend $40 on this because it's a smaller amount. Well, that $40, those $40 purchases, $20, $5 purchases regularly, they add up to the same exact $1,500, except it's not something that you wanted to do. So you end up almost denying yourself the thing you want to do in place of smaller things that you don't really care about or don't really want to do. And they add up the exact same way. And I see it all the time with people that drive that lease expensive cars, that wear expensive sneakers, that have name brand clothes and things like that. Like they spend way more money than I spend on things that to me don't matter as much. You know, but then at the end of the day, they don't know what a howler monkey sounds like in the wild, or what the airport, when you get out of the airport in Thailand, that smell is burned into my brain. They will never know that. But they do have to show for it. They have the name brand sneakers and the you know, the brand name clothing and stuff like that, and they're buying top shelf liquor and stuff like that, you know, so they have that to show for it. But I guess what I'm saying is that, what am I trying to say? Hold on, I took notes on this. I'm gonna just read off here. So no matter how responsible, future thinking, planning we are, we have to make space for our own life. Otherwise, in your frugality, you'll end up treating yourself to smaller things that don't matter as much to you, that aren't exactly the thing you wanted, like a trip, but they add up exactly the same way and leave you with nothing to show for it. That's the point I'm trying to make. So let's see, let me just double check to make sure I didn't miss any other points in my notes. Oh yeah, I was going to say also, when I was living on like basically $2,000, $1,500, $2,000 a month in the most expensive city in the country, what I would do, I did have control of my schedule. I did have this advantage. So I worked on call, and what I would do is I would just figure out what my expenses were, which were pretty low, and I'd say, okay, how much do I need to live? And I figured I needed, at the time, I don't remember how much I was paying, but I basically worked backwards from, okay, how many days a month? I was making like $80 a day. So I was like, okay, how many days a month do I need to work to just cover my expenses? And included in that was my rainy day fund. I put a few $100s a month towards retirement. And so even at my lowest income, I was always putting towards the future. And then after that, I actually gave myself permission to spend money on the things that I wanted to do. So anyway, so that's my thoughts on that. But I think it's great, Legend of Steve, that you're thinking as far as what your family deserves, which is awesome. But yeah, I guess if you don't, I'm going to start repeating myself. So I'm just going to stop it there. Okay, I turned off the camera, and then I remembered there's one other thing I wanted to say, and that's that the worst thing you can do is just say, oh, I'm just going to put everything towards this. This is true of any resource, not just money. It's time. It's any resource that you have that you just say, oh, I'm going to put everything towards this, because it's not real. It's not realistic. It's not possible. And what you end up doing is, like with time, like I do this all the time with editing. Like I feel like I'm so far behind, and I'll do this with time where I'll go, okay, I'm not going to do anything but edit today. Well, it's not realistic. So then what I'll do is I'll spend like a few hours on editing, and then I'll end up procrastinating because I've kind of reached my limit or my maximum of what I can actually produce video-wise. And then I end up saying no to the things that like I probably want to do or should be doing to just relax, reset, refresh. And I also, in the time that I'm not doing the things that I want to do, I end up also not editing. I'm just not real productive. And if you're more honest with yourself, like as far as any resource, like when it comes to money, if you say, well, I'm just going to put all my money towards my kids. Well, that's not real. That's not realistic, because at the end of the day, you do have to make purchases. Like you have to put clothes on your back. You have to put food on the table. You have to, you have to live. And so you're never going to put 100% of your money towards your future or towards your kids. So it's important to have realistic goals set and realistic expectations of yourself set, because otherwise what you'll do is just say, well, we really shouldn't do this thing that we want to do. Let's just go to the zoo or something. And then you end up buying your family drinks, you end up taking your family out to lunch, you buy them souvenirs, and end up, it's a couple of those, and your little zoo trip, which is supposed to save you money, ends up costing you way more money than if you just like been frugal and put that money towards the trip. So anyway, okay, again, thank you. I hope this is helpful, and I'm not turning the camera back on. Thanks for watching. See ya.